Hello, good evening, and welcome back. So as the Chinese Health Organization suggests that, maybe we shouldn't let off the restrictions so soon, Apple and Google have decided to step into the limelight more to explain how they've been monitoring and tracking us for many years already. So, the Chinese Health Organization warns, lifting coronavirus lockdown measures too early could spark a deadly resurgence in infections. Dr. Tedros Adhanom the doctor said countries should be cautious about easing restrictions even as some struggle with the economic impact. And they seem to have the wrong idea in thinking that we're choosing lives instead of money. It's lives instead of lives, as we've said before, that if somebody doesn't have the finances, then not only is it linked to suicidal tendencies, that they don't have a meaning in their life and they can't support things that are important to them, then they tap out of life. It tends to be that relationships break down because if the man can't support his girlfriend, his wife, whoever it might be, then she will find somebody who can. It's basically that simple. That yes, of course, love is great, isn't that delightful? But if the man can't support his wife, then she's leaving. That is the fact of the matter. That is what we see around again and again and again and again. Let's take your daily dose of red pills here. Who needs Sandman? Something like this. But on top of that, so that would lead to suicidal tendencies. But we've also got then people not going for the checkups that they would ordinarily have for things like cancer screening, and also then going to other habits in order to check out of reality, and that's what addiction set in. It could be as benign as drinking a bit more. It could be more serious in terms of smoking then and the damage caused by that, and then it could be far more serious in terms of illicit drug use and going to them because they need a more immediate and stronger hit to check them out of reality, so they don't have to deal with not necessarily the menial nature of reality, but just how overwhelmed and stressed they are with all the negatives, and then not knowing how to have a way out. Is that lack of hope, which then says, hey, well, at least this substance makes me feel better briefly, so I'll do that. So they do, and that of course then mars your judgment on the rest of reality, and it's difficult to then get yourself the help that you need. It's a lot more difficult to help yourself in order to get to that first step, in order to get a job, or in order to create a business, in order to put value into the world, and then you get that appreciation from other people. It's a similar thing with YouTube addiction. Like and subscribe. But that if you have that dopaminergic response from minimum effort, then you aren't willing to put in the effort required to get a more worthwhile outcome because your dopaminergic receptors are too impatient to be in it for the long run. And therefore every now and then it's good to take a step back and maybe if it is read or meditate or sit in silence or go jog, cycle, run, whatever it might be, in order to try and to encourage that delayed gratification to get the more meaningful things, because in the moment it's too easy to just fall into your regular habits instead of thinking, am I going to be proud of doing this? But with that in mind, it can be good to just stop at any time. You stop, you take a break, take a breath, observe what's going on, and then you decide if you wish to pursue what you're doing or if you wish to change it. And you can do that any time, and hopefully most of the time you'll think, yes, I want to keep doing this, but sometimes you'll think, no, I should do something else, and then of course you can decide what it is that you want to do and go do that, or at the very least just put yourself in the position of which it is far easier to do those things. So if it's like, I should really be exercising now, but I can't be bothered, so okay, can you get into exercise clothes? Yeah, I guess so. So okay, cool. Can you just do push-ups or squats? Yeah, I guess so. And then you get the ball rolling, and then you can actually do something more worthwhile. So, or can I just go outside and run? Government says no, but yes, you can. So just go do that, or just start by going for a walk, whatever it might be. Get the ball rolling, and then you put yourself in a better position to do the things that are worthwhile for you to do. So Spain and Italy are easing curbs by their so-called non-essential workers. Factory, production and construction. Yes, because we clearly don't need any construction, which is also repairing things. Bear in mind that if you don't deal with things, then they're inevitably going to fall apart. Entropy is the natural state of all things. Things will fall apart if they're not attended to, and that's where construction comes in. And then factory production of things that we actually need and use in our daily lives, but apparently these are non-essential workers, which I find great. I think it would be nice to say, instead of saying these are essential workers, why don't you just tell us who the non-essential workers are, and then explain to us how this job exists in the first place? That would be ideal, but of course they're not going to do that. But I've explained now why almost all of these are essential workers. Then if you look at the death tolls saying that, it seems nobody's dying from flu at the moment, that's convenient, and Stephen Crowder has done a bit of an excerpt about this in his Crowder Bits. You can find that. And yet, of course, coronavirus, so that's terrible. And as we've mentioned before on this channel, that people die with coronavirus instead of from, and therefore that brings the death toll up as well. So then you're thinking, well, is it really that bad? And I know people like Stefan Molyneux do like to say, well, yes, it definitely is. But even he's saying that, yes, it should be down more to the individuals to say, you understand the risk, and then if you want to go out despite that, because your life is more important in order to be able to get food on the table, if you will, then go do that, and that's your decision to make. So with that in mind, Apple and Google, they team up to contact trace COVID-19. So Google, as we all know, their Operation Dragonfly, which they're working on for the Chinese in order to help with their social credit system to see what people were doing and say if it was acceptable or not. They are jointly developing technology to alert people if they have recently come into contact with others found to be infected with coronavirus. So, basically, what they are wanting to do, and then we'll get into how this is obviously a front, that they want to say everybody will get an app. Whenever you meet with people, your phones will communicate with each other and have a little key bit of information that you've been in contact with this person, and then later on, if you get a confirmed case of coronavirus, you can report that through the app. It's all done through consent, nothing done without you wanting it to. You can report that, and then that will send out messages to everybody that you've been in contact with over the relevant time period to say that, hey, you've been in contact with someone with coronavirus, so maybe get yourself tested, or you can't because it's the National Health Service, but maybe isolate, or if you've got any symptoms, then take the appropriate actions. That is the idea behind it. So it's all retroactively because you can't get tested beforehand, basically. That's just how the National Health Service works. So well done, well done, government. That is the idea behind it. Of course, another thought of this is, hey, you could do a similar thing by saying, with that whole contact tracing, that you could have someone who has any sort of transmittable disease, and it could also be sexually transmitted disease, in order to then pass out that information to the relevant people, just so that they know, they've been in contact with somebody who has this disease, or it could be, if it's a STI, then so be it. Then they could use that information to then decide what they want to do with their life moving forward, and it's all done consent. So somebody will then say, I've been confirmed that I have COVID-19, or just normal coronavirus, or influenza, or herpes, or gonorrhea, whatever it might be. So if it's relevant to you, you might want to get yourself tested. So what's wrong with this? Well, it's quite obvious, isn't it? We've seen that Singapore, Israel, South Korea, and Poland are already using people's handsets to issue coronavirus contagion alerts, and that other health authorities, including the UK, France, and Germany, are working on initiatives of their own. That with anything like this, then they're seeing who you've been in contact with, they're understanding that. Apparently it's all anonymous, but there's so much other data on your phone to show that it's you, that could easily be changed retroactively, in order to then know, who you are affiliating with, and then, we can see that there have been these 6 people together for 2 hours, therefore they're breaking the social distancing guidelines, and we know who they are, so we should arrest them and detain them. And we know that this person, their internet activity is clearly very questionable with what they're looking up. They're trying to find those conspiracy theories which we've banned, in which case they're questionable, and maybe they've then contaminated the other people, because nothing's more dangerous than a thought. So now we need to be careful about who they've been in contact with, and how we should limit their freedoms even more so, and then what we can tell them in order to get them to stop associating with other people, and all that. Similarly, that we see with targeted ads already online in order to push their agenda to whoever they think will take it, that we already see online. But now it's just taking it from the online reality into actual reality. That seems to be the way in which they wish to take these things, to know who's been in contact with who and for how long, and knowing what these people are like from their internet history that, of course, Google is collecting all the time, in order to then know, what move should we take moving forward. And the most disheartening thing is, of course, how most people seem to be responding, saying, "Oh, the government is doing well, and I'm glad that they're cracking down on it. You know, step on me harder, daddy," all that kind of thing. But I'm thinking, well, I think it's safe to say then the government, I mean, even if we pretend that they had any idea to lift the regulations back to a point at which they were before, that now they have definitely decided that they won't be doing that. And I know that Google has their own agenda, but of course they wish to lobby the government and get involved with whoever, and they will prop up the people of whom are going to push their agenda. So in that instance, it's like, oh, well, it's not the government, it's the private company. It's like, yeah, except that the private company is now running the government. So they are the government and they're not private anymore, are they? But hey, you know, trying to end on a positive, we are seeing stocks refilling. We've been told that if a shop which is allowed to be open is selling a product that it stocks, you can buy that and police won't be detaining you or checking those aisles like apparently they have been, in order to see if you've been purchasing wine and crisps which aren't essential items, and reprimanding you for it. So hey, on the bright side, at least we've been given that freedom back, kind of, although they said that they weren't going to do that before and the police decided to do it anyway. So as far as I can see, they basically say, okay guys, here's going to be the good news we're going to send to people, but actually police, here's what I want you to do. We're going to see how it transpires. If people are complaining about it and it isn't looking good from a PR standpoint, then we'll stick with our official story and, you know, we'll say that it was just rogue police officers and we shouldn't be doing this. But if it goes well and people aren't complaining, everybody should do it, because the people are clearly on side. So I think it's a bit nefarious. But otherwise, yeah, good news. They've decided that stopping people for non-essential items is no longer a good idea. So go get whatever you want to get. And until next time, for the time that you can, have a good one.